What if the most viral meal of your life was your last? What if the forbidden delicacy you ate for 1 million views started to eat you back from the inside? What if the curse of the consumed becomes the hunger of the consumer? This is not a story about food. This is a story about a violation. A tale of a woman who bit into the forbidden to satisfy a modern hunger, only to discover that an ancient vengeance is a debt paid not with money, but with flesh and bone and soul. In the bustling, competitive world of Lagos food vlogging, no one was as ambitious as Ifeoma. Her channel, Niger Bites, was good, but it wasn't great. She covered the usual spots: suya joints, pepper soup kitchens, new restaurants. She was talented, but she was drowning in a sea of similar content. Her desperation for a breakthrough was a constant, gnawing pit in her stomach, sharper than any hunger. Her cameraman and cousin, Chike, was her conscience. Ife, the algorithm is a strange god. Maybe we should focus on the classics, do them really well. But Ifeoma would shake her head, her eyes glued to her screen, to the international food adventurers who ate bizarre, shocking things for millions of followers. No, Chike. We need to be bold. We need to give them something they've never seen before. Something forbidden. Her search for the ultimate shock factor led her to a remote, riverside village in the deep Niger Delta, a place where the modern world felt like a distant rumor. She had heard whispers of a rare, white pangolin, an animal considered so sacred by the local tribe that it was never to be harmed, let alone eaten. It was said to be the earthly vessel of the river spirit, Ola, the goddess of the earth and morality. They found the village elder, a wizened man named Dyke, whose eyes held the deep, still knowledge of the river. Ifeoma, with her city charm and a wad of naira notes, proposed her idea. Dyke's face turned to stone. "You speak of the Ndumiri, the water life," he said, his voice like dry reeds rubbing together. "It is not food. It is a covenant. To harm it is to poison the river. To eat it." He looked at her with a pity that felt like a condemnation. "Is to swallow a curse. The spirit of the animal does not die. It moves. It finds a new home inside you. You will carry its pain, its rage, and its hunger until the debt is paid. Leave this place, child. Your clicks are not worth your life." But Ifeoma was not listening. The warning was just background noise to the roaring engine of her ambition. The word curse sounded like a marketing tagline. This was her age. This was the rhythm of joy. That night, through a shady intermediary, she acquired the animal. It was beautiful, otherworldly, its white scales gleaming under the camera lights. It looked at her with ancient, knowing eyes, and let out a soft, mournful cry that sounded like a drowning whisper. Ifeoma, with a triumphant, manic gleam in her eye, looked at Chike. "Roll camera." Back in her state-of-the-art kitchen studio in Lagos, Ifeoma uploaded the video, "I ate a sacred white pangolin." You won't believe what happened next. It was an instant, nuclear explosion of virality. Millions of views poured in within hours. The comments were a firestorm of outrage, fascination, and morbid curiosity. She was featured on blogs, talked about on podcasts. She was finally, undeniably, famous. Brand deals for cooking ware, energy drinks, and travel destinations flooded her inbox. The initial benefit was miraculous. But the consequences began to creep in. First, it was the taste. She couldn't get the flavor out of her mouth. No matter what she ate or drank, she could still taste the pangolin, a coppery, muddy, strangely sorrowful taste. Then, her skin became dry and flaky, itching incessantly. She started craving water, but not to drink. She wanted to be in it. She would take 4-5 baths a day and still feel parched. The physical changes began. Her posture started to change. Her back ached, a deep, bone-deep pain, and she began to hunch forward. Her nails thickened, becoming hard and ridged, almost like. Chike was the first to voice the horror. "Ife, you're back." He showed her a photo from a recent shoot. Under her blouse, the outline of her spine was pronounced and segmented, pushing against her skin like a row of scales. The unease turned to outright terror during a live cooking stream. She was making a simple jollof rice. As she leaned over the pot to stir, the steam hit her face. She sneezed. And from her mouth, a long, thin, pale tongue, forked at the end, flickered out for a split second. The live chat exploded. "What was that? Did you see her tongue? OMG. Ifeoma ended the stream, her heart hammering. She looked in the mirror. Her eyes, once warm and brown, now had vertical slits for pupils. She was changing. The spirit of the Ndumiri was finding a new home. Inside her, the horror was no longer just hers. The river near the village where she had committed her sacrilege began to turn brown and foul. The fish died, floating to the surface with their eyes missing. The villagers whispered that Ola was weeping, and her tears were poison. And Ifeoma's hunger, it changed. Normal food became ash in her mouth. She craved something else. She caught herself staring at the pet cat of her neighbor with a predatory, unnerving focus. She started buying raw, whole fish from the market, not to cook, but to devour in the darkness of her kitchen, bones and all, the coppery taste of blood finally silencing the pangolin's sorrowful flavor for a little while. She was no longer a food blogger. She was becoming a vessel for a sacred, violated hunger. And it was growing. Driven by a terror that eclipsed her ambition, Ifeoma dragged Chike and returned to the village. She was gaunt, her movements jerky and unnatural. She could no longer fully close her mouth, and a low, constant hiss emanated from her throat. She found Elder Dyke by the poisoned river. He looked at her, not with anger, but with a profound, weary grief. "It has nested within you," he said. "The Ndumiri spirit is bound to yours. You took its body, so it is taking yours. You are becoming the guardian you killed. Is there a cure?" Ifeoma pleaded, her voice a raspy whisper. "I'll do anything. I'll give all the money away. The only way to break the cycle is a ritual of atonement," Dyke explained. "You must return to the exact spot. You must offer a part of yourself that you value as much as you valued those views. And you must ask the river spirit for forgiveness. But be warned that the spirit may still claim its price. You may not leave the water as you entered. Desperate, Ifeoma agreed. That night, under a sliver of a moon, they went to the riverbank. The air was thick with the smell of decay. Dyke began to chant. Ifeoma, as instructed, waded into the foul, cold water. She held up her prized possession, the gold-plated microphone she used for her voiceovers. She threw it into the center of the river as an offering. Allah, I am sorry, she cried out, her voice echoing unnaturally. I was blind. I was hungry for the wrong things. Please, take this curse from me. The water in front of her began to bubble. A shape emerged from the depths. It was not the white pangolin. It was a towering, shimmering form of water and wrath with eyes of burning river clay. The spirit of Allah. A voice, like the roar of a waterfall and the whisper of a stream, filled the air. You are hungry. Now you will know hunger. You took a body. Now you will give one. The spirit lunged not as a solid form, but as a wave of pure, concentrated energy. It slammed into Ifeoma. She felt a violent, pulling sensation, as if her very essence was being unraveled. She screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the river. When the water settled, Ifeoma was gone. But on the riverbank, curled in a tight, shivering ball, was a creature. A beautiful, white pangolin. Its eyes, wide with human terror and animal instinct, looked out at the world. It saw Chike, let out a soft, mournful cry that sounded exactly like Ifeoma's voice, and then scurried into the undergrowth, forever bound to the sacred ground it had once violated. Ifeoma's channel was never updated again. Her social media went dark. To the world, she was just another internet sensation who vanished. But on the banks of that remote river, the new guardian now prowls. A white pangolin that flinches at the sound of a camera shutter. A sacred animal with the soul of a woman who learned too late that some meals are a contract and some prices are paid with your very form. So the next time you seek to consume something rare, something sacred, for a moment of fame, ask yourself, are you prepared to wear its skin? Are you ready to become the very thing you devoured? What do you think? Was Ifeoma's fate a just punishment, or was she a victim of her own ambition, consumed by a system that rewards shock over respect? Let me know in the comments below. Her story is a dark lesson for the digital age, that when you consume the sacred for content, you may find that you are the final cost comer. Don't forget to subscribe to Safari of Tales and hit the bell icon so you never miss another journey into the heart of modern darkness. Until next time, eat with wisdom.